Hey there. I just want to take a little bit of time to introduce myself and talk about what my company is, what the mission of my company is, and how it can apply to you, and what the overall goal of all this involvement with the community is. And without further ado, I'm taking a crack at getting involved on the internet and producing some content. I had a few different plans for video content to create and upload, but I just want to start off with a honest conversation with you, just tell you who I am, what my background is, why I do what I do. And yeah, my name is Aaron Matan. Let's get started. So back in 2012, a little while ago, I joined the United States Army. It was a goal, a passion of mine since I was a little kid to be a soldier. It very much interested me, all the big toys, the uniform, everything about it. That was where I saw myself. And then throughout my military career, I got different opportunities to take leadership courses, learn more about, different disciplines and how to take a, practical application of job skills and integrate it into your day-to-day life. And from there, I was very interested in attending any and every class that I could get my hands on. Starting off with a CLS class, which is Combat Lifesaver Support. It's the basics of medical training for combat situations and basically emergency field care. From there, I was hooked. I loved learning the anatomy of the body. I loved learning, all these different, products do, how to make improvised versions of those. And, that really reaffirmed, oh, hey, I like being prepared for when stuff goes bad. It just interests me. And I was pretty young, 19, 20, when I started learning this stuff. And I would love coming back to, my little friend circle and just teach what I had learned, with the basics of military education. So like things like marksmanship fundamentals, how to move in a fire team, just the run-of-the-mill stuff I would always want to share. And I ended up moving to Oregon and was there for about 5 years. From there, let's rewind a little bit. So growing up in North Carolina, being around firearms is a very normal thing. It's, our culture here in the Southeast is, if you haven't shot a gun by the time you're 12, that's odd. So that education around different types of firearms, different ammo loads, different, security elements of things, and, application of, different weapon systems and the manual of arms, a different thing. None of that is really, common, but that's where I wanted to go with it. So it quickly became a hobby, between, what I was learning in the military and, purchasing my first shotgun, my first pistol and everything. Moving out to Oregon, I had the chance to have some different conversations about firearms and wanted to share my perspective of growing up in the South and growing up in an area where it's not as unfamiliar or as uncomfortable of a conversation. And what I noticed is those conversations went fine, went well. And, sometimes bring some people out shooting or off-roading with me. And sometimes it was just, hey, here's my perspective on it. This is why I think it's unnecessary or scary. And, it made sense. It wasn't how I, choose to go about my day to day, but that perspective made sense. And so, I started kind of scratching my head on what I wanted to do with my life, because I was bouncing around jobs. I traveled for work for a little while. I was in sales. I was in construction. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And then I got orders to deploy. I was deployed from 2017 to 2018 in support of Operation Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan. And with that combat deployment, now all the things I'm really interested in and I thought were really cool, I'm doing in real life. And that just opened my eyes to what I want to do when I go home. And so I came home, and, the mission was a success. Everything that we did felt good and right. It was hard, and, there were bad things that happened, but there are also bad things that happen at home. There are bad things that happen here. And so I moved back to Oregon for a short little bit, met my beautiful wife, who now we have, just a wide open, full of life daughter, and starting a family, wanted to come back to North Carolina and really fulfill this vision that I had. So, since before I deployed, it was just a bucket list item. I wanted to work in a gun shop, and I came here after deployment and said, okay, I really want to apply what I've been focusing on learning, whether that be through leadership courses, different practical skill courses like the field medicine, like, more advanced firearm and weapon courses, and apply that to the civilian sector. I have no idea how to do that. So let me focus on kind of checking that box first. I want to work for a gun shop, and I was hell-bent on working for an FFL. I eventually got it. I worked at a local gun store for about 3 years, and I loved it. I loved solving problems for customers. I loved whether that be, what type of holster makes sense for you and your body type and how you carry, and or my absolute favorite was people coming in, hey, I've never bought a gun before. Where do I start? What do I even ask? And that was where I was the most satisfied with my job, is helping people that were brand new gun owners. Because I understand kind of the nerve of going into something new that, they may feel an interest towards it, or they may feel a need. And I get that. That was my military career. It still is. And so that made me kind of good at my job and kind of bad at my job at the same time, because I would spend way too much time with customers talking about, firearm safety, about different considerations for storage, different like, hey, how do you plan to carry, or do you plan to carry? Do you have you looked at any type of training, and really get into a thorough conversation of let's set you up for success when you walk out the door with this thing. And in that way, I had a lot of really good connections with my customers. But also, it's still a retail store. You still need to sell guns and ammo. So, my colleagues would make fun of me of, they would call it going full Aaron, where I would just really, I would go through and teach the manual of arms, teach how to field strip, whatever weapon they were purchasing, and just really just spend way too much time with the customer. And so after 3 years, I realized, okay, I'm not doing what I'm meant to do. I'm in the right industry because that's where my interest lies. That's where all my education that I've actually cared about lies, is in firearm education. So the next step was I attended the Sonoran Desert Institute for their firearm technology program. There I earned a degree in firearm science and safety education, as well as simultaneously getting certifications on a pistol specialist with SDI, getting my DOJ concealed carry certification, and some other certifications for pistol, rifle, just getting the criteria to be able to teach through different organizations. And I founded Force Multiplier Solutions LLC. Again, I knew what I wanted to do. I just didn't really know how to do it. And it didn't take very long for me to identify the mission of the business, which is to, provide that quality, individualized training. But the accessible part of it, which is probably one of the most important parts of that mission, is kind of difficult. It's more complicated than just, okay, I will charge less money for it. Because while I was working at the gun store, and I wrote essentially, it's not an actual dissertation, but my final project for my degree, I wrote this dissertation on the gap between firearms training and purchasing the gun. So you'll hear this across this industry all the time. Okay, you bought a gun, here's my product. All right, go train, go train, go train, go train. Well, you spend X amount of money. Say you spend $1,200 on a gun, ammo, holster, optics, whatever, and then you got to sign up for a course to learn how to use the thing, and it's $300-$400. And so that's pretty consistent, whether it be content creators, manufacturers, distributors. They all, rightfully so, encourage training. But how accessible is that? It's not cheap, and typically you have to drive. You have to make a whole trip out of it, and that doesn't make sense for me, because it's about your day-to-day life, and it's in preparedness for things to go wrong at a moment's notice. So I started to kind of broaden my connections in the community and in the industry, so that I can get more involved with SDI through some of the education institutions here in North Carolina. And I ended up having a partnership with the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission. There, they are all about education and safety, and they run multiple ranges across the state. Well, me and my good friend wanted to spearhead an initiative to provide free firearm safety and marksmanship education. We do that now. Every Friday from 10 to 3, I'm there giving free education, and that's what it's all about. It's not about, can we make it cheap? It's about, can we make it accessible? So I plan to, one, set the foundation to expand that program, but through Force Multiplier Solutions, we offer a totally different product. The safety and the marksmanship are the cornerstone of being able to do anything you do in my classes. But that's a good step off point. What FMS primarily focuses on is that quality and individualized training. And it can be applied in whatever different scenario in your life. So some of the key things that I like to offer is, one, the concealed carry class. Now, that's a state mandated curriculum, and it gives you a great crash course on, the legality of where you can and can't carry, what constitutes use of lethal force, so on and so forth, and some, practical parts of it, the basic firearm safety, how to store it at the home, what different holster options are, and some firing fundamentals. But like I said, that just gives you kind of a crash course on the different things you want to consider. But the reality of it is that's standardized, and everybody's life is different. In the same class, you can have somebody that just purchased their first gun and they're single, they live alone, and then right next to them is somebody who lives in a bad part of town and has 3 kids. Both parents work full time, and it's a totally different scenario. So me trying to, or any educator or any instructor trying to just give kind of broad application solutions typically isn't the right answer for everybody that's sitting in that classroom. So what I like to do is I like to actually go into the home or go into the vehicle and drive the commute to work. Take an inventory of what does your life look like and where can we apply these things. So, starting kind of from the outside in, let's say it's home security. We start with, deterrence. What can we do to prevent anything bad from happening, whether that be, a home invasion, a storm, which, all of us here in the Southeast experienced Helene. And I live in one of the affected areas of Helene. We were directly affected by it. That very much reaffirmed the mission of my business and what I'm trying to accomplish. But that aside, moving into early detection and how to be able to know what's happening around you, that can be applied to whether you're driving or you're dropping your kid off at daycare, or you're just hanging out watching a movie at home, and then into defense and how to not only effectively utilize this tool that you have, but how to keep it safe with your kids or with roommates or whatever it may be. And kind of see what I'm saying is everybody's life is different. Everybody's situation is different. And so that's the main thing that I provide is we come into the home, go in, I ride along with you, go into your workplace, whatever your situation may be, and we build out these plans for, how to keep yourself from having to deal with bad things, how to prepare yourself if the bad thing happens, not just defense too. Okay, let's talk about some financial planning of, I know I need more food and water, but I can't afford it. All right, let's make a little plan for that. And go through all the different elements of if these things happen, security or weather related, or, we're living in kind of uncertain times. So, what can we do to buy ourselves time to make educated decisions and and to navigate these situations with a little more confidence and be empowered to not just see, this education as something that is exclusive to people with a ton of money. So that's who I am, what I'm trying to do, and, kind of the background behind what led me to this. And if you want to go ahead and feel empowered, ready to educate yourself in, just being prepared to make those decisions, start fine-tuning your situational awareness, start getting into the realm of being able to protect yourself and your family, and being prepared for adverse conditions, and really just feeling a little more confident as we move into the unknown, let me know. It's totally free, and I'm available to answer questions. Just shoot me an email at Force Multiplier Solutions LLC at gmail.com. That's Force Multiplier Solutions LLC at gmail.com, or visit my website, fms-training.com. But also, I plan on getting more involved on online content. I have a full gunsmithing shop. I have access to a range and a great community of people around me that believe in my mission, and I have this studio. So everything's set, everything's ready to go ahead and start providing that to the community. But we just need to know what you want, what you need. And so just give me a little bit of feedback. The purpose of this video was to just introduce myself and tell you who I am, and what I do, and just so that you can make that decision if you're ready to become more educated, and you're ready to start, or just do some cool stuff. Defensive and dynamic shooting is a lot of fun, and trust me, I love teaching it. So let me know. But if you're ready to go ahead and take those next steps, please reach out. However, we need some content ideas. Drop a comment. Please like and share this video or any of the other videos that I make and some of my fellow community members make, and let's just get a little more exposure. Let's start having this conversation, and let's start making this more accessible for our community. And it's the mission is very much pure in nature, and I'm doing every single decision I make for the business is in support of that mission. But the selfish reason why I'm doing it is I want my neighbors to be educated and prepared, and I want my community to be able to sustain itself and work together and be a team for the next Helene, or for if things start to go awry, with our society, or it's just there's shortages in supplies, and we've experienced all this stuff in recent history. So, this is me officially extending out my invitation to get involved, and let's do it together. Thank you so much, and be safe.